Chooch is trying not to laugh. Chooch is in the room. But why are you laughing? Was it corny? Was it that corny?
These teams are gonna rip.
We have a bad chair.
Okay, I'm restarting the intro. Okay, so welcome back to Take 4. We took a couple weeks off, but we needed to do that for our health and yours. And
because we're rotting your brain.
Because you are losing brain cells and brain function by listening to us. But no, the 40s, we had mentioned the last episode that we want to make each episode through the 40s special. In this episode, we're going to interview Carlos the same way that he interviewed me the last episode. So yeah, this is going to be the Carlos interview, episode 42. Thank you. Do you want to just get into it?
Yeah. I mean, anything you want to do.
Okay.
This is yours.
So before like I start asking questions before we push, I just want to ask, what do you want the narrative behind you to be? Where do you want your story to start?
Story to start? You mean like comedy wise, or you mean how like I'm perceived?
Or
like just like what my story would be?
Just
like
in general,
autobiography?
Just in general, because we say like, oh, you mean in stand up, you mean in comedy, but the reality of it is like that's our life, that's what we do. Mm-hmm. And so like our life is synonymous with what we do in comedy. So where do you want people to know you as? Because you have a very colorful past. Where do you want that to start? Where do you want your perception
Oh, you mean
start?
you're asking for the interview specifically?
For the interview specifically, but also in general.
I guess, it's a good point. It's weird too, because until comedy, like the stuff in my life like didn't really matter to what was going on and like what was in front of me, like as far as like relationships, career stuff, like nobody really knew. I don't know what happened, but I don't know. I was like, I'm gonna start telling people. I got way too honest and comfortable telling people shit. But yeah, back then, like nobody knew anything. I guess sort of like I'm okay with it all. I guess I don't want to be defined by what like my past is, and like past sounds weird. Past sounds like
it sounds like you killed someone.
Yeah, it sounds like I killed someone,
like
or like
time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I did time, but pretty much like I mean, if you're a close friend of mine, like you know how crazy like my family is and what I grew up with, and this stuff like I was around. But I mean, like I just don't want people to like. I don't want it to be a cloud over it. Like I hope people understand like this is how I got to where I am, and they're more understanding of me. But also, I don't want it to define. I don't want people to go like, oh, well, this is the guy that went through all this, the trauma kid. You don't want to be just that. That's what I think I want my narrative to be, not just one thing.
I think you've had that you've had that view about it since I've met you. Because anytime you would begin to bring it up, you'd be like, it's not important. Never mind. We'll keep. Do you think in a way it does shape? I mean, it definitely does shape what you do now, or like your act or your stand up. What do you take about it with you? What do you not take with it?
Yeah, I think some things I take is like it did shape me as a person. Like my family, the thing is my upbringing were just so tumultuous and it was so crazy. I feel like there wasn't like I don't have any average like stories of like growing up. Like there's nothing really, like I'll hear kids talk about like, oh, like, this, like our summer vacation, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh no, we didn't really do that. It was just like constantly like fighting, arguing, laughing. Like it wasn't like a typical upbringing. It was pretty much just like you've seen, like, have you seen the show The Middle or like, or even like Malcolm in the Middle? It's exactly like that. It's like just every day, single day was like there was a new thing or new event where you're like, can't we just have like a normal day where we just sit down and watch TV? Like it's always got to be someone like, I remember one time, one of the hardest times I ever laughed, like to this day, it's like etched into my memory. And I remember telling people this story before I started stand up and like scaring a room full of people. But to sum it all up, it's because I'm not going to be able to do it justice. My dad told me a story about how his childhood best friend and neighbor at the time, pretty much, he went to go buy drugs from this drug dealer. The drug dealer then, when they're meeting up, is like, oh, you never paid me for the last time. And he was like, oh, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They scrap. He knocks the drug dealer out, my dad's friend. to a point where he's like, I think he's dead. So they put him in a trunk and they leave him like 2 or 3 blocks away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
Flash forward 2 to 3 days later, my dad's friend's kid is having like his 4th birthday party ever. And they're singing happy birthday and they're like, happy birthday. And the drug dealer is walking up and he's like, oh my God, you're alive. You're alive. I thought I killed you. And he's like trying to give him a hug. And then the way my dad explained it was he goes, oh yeah, you tried to fucking kill me, bitch. And he stabs him with a screwdriver and walks off. And he's like, oh, you're going to stab me at my kid's 4th grade birthday party or 4-year-old birthday party. And like, the way I told that was bad, but like my dad legit, the way he said that was like me and my brother were on the floor, like couldn't breathe, like laughing.
Is he a good storyteller?
My dad's hilarious. It's crazy how funny they are. Like I've always been super jealous of that, like how funny they are. So that's why whenever people tell me like, oh, like you're likable, you're like funny, I don't believe them because I'm like, oh, I know what the bar is.
Do you think you're into this because of that or because of them?
I think like it's weird too because I don't know if it's like this for you. I wouldn't, prior to going like I'm gonna be a stand-up comedian, define my life to comedy. Like I always love to laugh, but I think that's such a big cultural thing with like Mexicans or just like poor people. It's like, oh well, we don't have anything, so we just laugh all the time or just find joy in whatever we can. But yeah, like I think we just doing jokes or like bits was such a common thing in like our household that yeah, I couldn't help it. Like I was doing it without realizing it. Like you know how people like between a friend group there's like a culture, and it's weird to think of it or call it that. Like it's a culture, but like
no,
you like facilitate it.
Of course.
Yeah, so we facilitated a place of comedy, and it's so weird because like I already know what crazy is, so it was so easy for me to adapt to comedy because of that. Because I'm like, I nothing phases me. It's rare for something to faze me.
What do you mean by adapt to comedy? Do you want to explain there?
Like adapt meaning like I feel like when you join comedy, there's this jarring thing of like people are saying things that they shouldn't say, acting in ways they shouldn't, not being like productive members of society. You know what I mean? Like there's people where it's like...
We're degenerates.
Degenerates or like not even like to like shit on comics, but it's like to be a comic, it's like that starving artist thing where you're like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to be a comic. And a lot of people are just homeless for years, right. And that's their game plan, and or not game plan, but that's their like, okay, I'm gonna do this because I'm good. I'm just, all that matters is getting up and writing.
This is what it takes.
Yeah. Which for some people they look down on that, but for me, I'm just like, oh, I knew people that were doing that, and then we're like, I'm gonna just get sober. So it's like to me it's like, oh, this isn't nothing new. It's like very much like in my wheelhouse of dealing with people that go like, I'm gonna make these compromises to get what I want. Right.
When we'll get into a little bit right now about like when you first started comedy and where your headspace was at. But do you remember your dad had a puppet show?
A puppet show?
I remember when you first started comedy. Your dad was like, oh, you think you're funny? Yeah, I'm pretty funny too. I'm thinking about starting this puppet show.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah, well, he really wanted... the thing is, whenever I see my dad, he would just have something.
What do you mean?
Like, it's like he's... I try to do a bit about this, but I can never get it work. It's like, you ever seen the show Storage Wars?
Yeah.
It's like Storage Wars, but if a guy, you just, every time you saw a guy, he's like that in the video games, like the side quest, the Traveler, where you run into him and he just starts trying to sell you shit.
Okay.
But it's like, that's my dad. So like, I'll run into him and he's like, oh, I got this BlackBerry. And it's like, all right, I don't want a BlackBerry. Or like, he'll be like, I got this Pee-wee puppet. So he gave it to me and I was like, honestly, that's a pretty fucking cool. Most of the time I don't want it, but I was like, all right, that's actually pretty cool. So I kept it, and then he asked for it back. He was like, can you give me that back, actually? I want to do this puppet show. Also, he was trying to sell it. Who the fuck is going to get go to see a puppet show from crazy homeless guy? That doesn't really make sense.
Do you, okay, so I think we've touched on like your background as much as you'd want to, or as much as you'd like.
We can go into it more. I don't mind.
No. Well, where we could just go into like, what were the moments leading up into you starting stand up? Because you started 2 separate times. Yeah. Well, the first time was is that the full that question? And where was your head the second time when you finally committed?
Yeah, I think me going into, I didn't really have much of a path or like a what is it called? Like there wasn't something set. Like I didn't have anything to compare it to, like what a functioning adult is. I knew what not to do. I'd seen so many things, especially with my parents or family members, that like became drug addicts or like immediately like got pregnant really young and didn't decide to do anything more with their life but other than to survive. And I knew that was the thing. I was like, I'm not gonna live a life just to survive. Like I got tired of it. And I went into college and I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know what I don't want to do. And I was like, I like to be fun and be creative. I want to do like film. I'll do film. I sucked at film. I was terrible at it. Was never really good. I could sit there for hours trying to learn. It just like I'm someone that if it's I don't think I'm lazy, but if I don't want to do it, I won't do it. No matter unless it's like
you didn't suck. You just didn't want to do it.
Even when I did it though, it was like I could not retain any information. I had bought like over $1,000 or over a couple $1,000s of sound stuff. I would get notebooks and just write down a day of the film set. Like it was weird how like I would just be doing this and like people would be like, we need you to mic this guy. And you to pretty much mic someone, like you get lavs, you get the frequencies of the room to make sure you're on the right channel. So it's the best sound quality possible. And I even right now, I don't know how I know that. If you were to ask me to do it in person, I wouldn't do it, but I know it's in me. But I'm just shitty at it.
Okay.
So film just didn't work out. I was fuck up after fuck up, and I didn't get into the film program at State. And I was like, all right, well, I don't want to do anything else. So I was like, I need to take the semester off and really prove to myself, like, because if I graduate with a bullshit degree, I'm fucked. I was like, I'm fucked. I'm gonna work. I walked right into what I didn't want to do.
Bullshit degree being
like a film theory degree where with no connections, no real work. I was just being lazy. It was also the pandemic, so I didn't really have much to go off of.
So wait, so there was two options. You could have gone to like film.
Yeah,
film,
just stick with film.
Film theory.
Yeah, film theory, or just which I ended up graduating
with.
But
the two options you didn't get. What didn't you get into?
There was the film production side. You have to submit like a reel, works, personal statements, letters of recommendations. I didn't have any of that. I fucking fast forwarded. The first time I ever did stand up was actually, it was junior college. I was in this thing called the Puente program. And in that, it was like to push for Mexican kids or first generation college kids to graduate. So they set you up on a path. They're like, well, you go to a counselor. They pick the 2 years of classes you get. You leave off with your associate's degree and they set you up for college. And that first semester, they set you up with a mentor. And everyone got mentors based off their profession or like what they wanted to be or their like, degree. And they were like, well, you're the funny guy. You're the funny guy in the class. So we set you up with a comedian. And at that time, he was like, I met up with my mentor who ended up being Brendan Pranowitz, and he like took me to my first mic. And he was like, so you want to be a comic? And I was like, yeah, I think so, but like I can't be a comic. I was like, I couldn't be a comic. I have terrible stage fright. I'm super awkward. I'm not good with people. And like I was like, no, I can't. Like that's not me. I'm not gonna do it. I do it the first time. I saw Pablo. I saw Pablo. I've told Pablo this a couple times. He was doing a joke about his girlfriend eating his ass,
which he's probably still doing.
Yeah. He's probably still doing it. But like I saw Pablo, didn't know who Pablo was. But I go up, I fucking eat dick. I cry on stage. I swear to God. Well, not cry, but like I couldn't, like I got choked up and my eyes were tearing up. I couldn't do stand up. And I got off and I remember just getting back to my seat and be like, fuck, like I'm fucking so bad at this. But I remember like going like, even after like in the car being like, holy shit, like I was like I'm made for this. and then like I take some more film classes, but they're like film production classes that are.
So you stopped doing stand up after that?
I didn't do it. I did it once and I just never did it again. I didn't know how to do it.
Did you keep in contact with the mentor?
When I saw him, I saw him like one more time and that's it. And then he was like,
now we see him often.
Yeah, now we see him often. But I did a communications class and I would do speeches. Wouldn't write them, and I would just go up there and do it, and I would murder.
Those are the best.
Which is crazy.
Those are the best when you haven't started, like you're not a comic yet, but you're in control of a room. And it's in school and it's not a comedy setting. Those are the best.
I would murder, and then I was like, I think I do want to do. I would go on film sets because I remember I told you I didn't get in the production side. I was like, I'm gonna take a semester off and go to film sets. I would be on these film sets working.
You've left. I'm just trying to get
the timeline.
So you left community college now. You're at San Diego State. You
Pandemic starts. The first semester of the pandemic starts.
Okay, and you're going to film sets. Did you already not get into the production side?
Yeah, I didn't get in, and I was like, I need to get into what I want to do. So I was like, I'm gonna work. Fuck this. I'm not gonna get in, and degree doesn't matter. I need to make connections. I need to actually like, if I want this and I really want it, I need to find out now. I'm not gonna wait a year or two and like fucking coast and like do nothing and lie to myself. And at that time, like my family life was just terrible. Like my mom was really bad on drugs. The house was going to shit. Like it was just like not a good time to be there. I had moved out, like right before the
pandemic.
right during the pandemic. I moved in like April, so it started in March. So I moved out in the next month because they were like, "We'll give you a room for $750." And I moved in, and then like my brother and other people had like been like. They just missed me. Like our family was super close, and they were like, "You should come back. Like we want you back." And I was just done. I mean, this was so many years of like, dude, it's just like it's hard to explain to people like going home and like your parents just being high. Well, I mean, it was just my mom. My dad was just like out of my life for most of the years, and it was like I knew the patterns. So I was over at my friend's house so much to a point of like I think that was the first time I stopped like lying to people. I would go over there and he'd be like, "Oh, why are you here for like a week?" Like, it's cool you're here. I mean, it's the pandemic. We have nothing to do. But, like, why don't you want to be home? And I was just like... And then I just explained it to him. I was like, well, my mom's on drugs. And he's like, well, what drugs? And I was like, well, she does meth. And I know
that's a 3-day situation.
No, yeah, I know the pattern. The first day is I'm going to show up and she's going to be dead quiet. The second day, it's going to be a little bit more like she's active. You'll see her. The third day, she's just going to be insane. And then the fourth day, it's like we're just waiting for her to sleep because she's just saying crazy shit. And the crazy shit just got progressively more and more like abusive and like wild. And like, I just got tired of it. Like there was one day I went home and she was like, you're possessed. And she just started beating me. And like my family around, there was just no like functioning adult. My grandpa was an alcoholic who would just like let everything happen because he just didn't want to be a part of it. My uncle had like mental health issues and like was also like just fucking like not helpful with situations. They were all very like young in the head and didn't know how to develop like coping skills or how to talk with one another. And to give you reference, if you know me in real life, think about how crazy this is. I was the calm smart one, which is insane to say.
Which is fucked.
Probably, yeah.
If that's the situation, if Carlos is in charge, we're fucked.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. And obviously, like I think I present myself a little bit differently because I can. But yeah, I just was tired of it, and it just was getting worse and worse at home. And one day, I just kept telling people, in August, I'm gonna do comedy. I just would just say shit to people. I would just be like, in August, I'm gonna do comedy. And it was the last week of August, and I saw somebody had posted something, and I was like, I need to do it. I need to fucking like go do it.
So this is 2021 now.
This is 2021, August of 2021. And I tell people like, I tell myself in the car, I'm like, I'm going to do it once. And once I do it, I'm never going to want to stop doing it. And I went up and it went well. I forced friends to go. I dropped off some equipment to them and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I was like, man, you want to come? And I went and yeah, I just kept, the second night I went, I met Frankie Churchill, who did a podcast with us.
Never released.
And then that next week, I go home like after a mic, and it was like fucking crazy. And just like shit hit the fan. I got in a fight with my stepdad because I had found out they had like killed my dog, which was fucking crazy.
They killed it?
Yeah. They were just super negligent. This was all within the span of like 24 hours. I'd lost my job the next day because my hand was broken, and I didn't.
Wait, how did your hand break?
My hand broke because I had fought my stepdad and I like hit him in the head, and he had like a thick skull. And like, so I'm just hitting him, and like he was like, it was me and my brother. My brother was just like wailing on him. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the doctors, and then they were like, here's how stupid I was. I went and I laid down and I was like, fuck, like my hand is like really swollen. And I was like, yeah, but it's not broken though. I can move it. You can't move something if it's broken. And then I'm like, it just kept getting bigger, and I was like, oh, I need to go to the hospital. And I went and they told me it was broken, and I was like, oh fuck. And I was like, I'm not going back home. I'm not. And at that time, like my mom was like, you're not getting insurance, you're not getting this. And I was like, that's fine. My aunt said I could stay with her. I'll go stay at my aunt's. Mm-hmm. And at that time, like it was like really rough, and I'd never wanted to be home. So if I wasn't at my friend's house, I was at my aunt's house. And if I wasn't at my aunt's house, I was in my room, sleep, and then just wait to leave.
Right.
And I go there, my aunt just says like, no, you can't be here. And I was like, I remember going like, Why though? And she was like, well, you know, it just like there's a lot of drama going on and I don't want to be a part of it. And I was like, I won't do. I was like, if you want me to pay rent or money stuff, I won't eat your food. Like I can give you money for food. Like I'll work. Like
Right.
I don't know what you need, but I'll do it. And she's like, I just don't think you know what you're doing, and like you don't really care to like fix anything. And I was like, I just got a second job. I was like, I was working 2 jobs. I worked at Bed Bath & Beyond for 2 days.
Remember that? Yeah.
I lost that job because they were like, you can't stock with a broken hand. You need a cast. My other job was like, you can't work here with a broken hand. And my aunt took the key back. She let me have a key to visit her.
Right.
She took it back the day like I was like, I'm homeless. And then she was like, all right, well, you just have to like
Now
deal with
you're
it.
super homeless.
Yeah, now I'm super homeless. I'm sleeping in my car. I'm like, I made a rule for myself. I was like, I have a 3-day rule, which for some reason I still think in my head, I still have it to this day, which I
Right.
don't need. But like where I was like, I'm not staying at anyone's house for more than 3 days. And honestly, I would only stay at 2. I would just like, nobody knew what was happening. I would just tell them like, I'm like, oh yeah, shit's happening. I don't want to be home. And I was just doing stand up like in that meantime.
And this
until,
is
like,
first 2 weeks of doing stand up.
this lasted for like 2-3 months.
But
Within the first 2 weeks.
it starts within the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So not only are you learning to do stand up, you're learning how that social situation of a comedy club works. You're also dealing with this at home and job situation.
Yeah.
Okay. And so where's your head at?
I don't know, man. It was really weird too, especially comparing it to now, because it's weird to like not. I don't know, not be in it. Like that was how much I was like so over it. I was like, because I remember even when like there was like one day when I went back to go grab some stuff, and like my mom was like sober that one day and was like, you can stay here. And I was like, I'm not gonna stay here. This is it. This is done. Like this is, I'd rather like be homeless and like figure it out on my own than like keep doing this. I was like, I wasted so many years of my life going through this same cycle of like abuse and anger and like letting life like pass me because I was like, I need to fix everything at home. And like obviously like my brothers, like that was hard for me because like I mainly felt like I was abandoning them. And that was pretty tough. But like I felt like it was like I needed to just get out of there because like me being there just wasn't good. And like more problems would happen, more shit would happen.
Right.
And stand up like was one of those only stand up was the only thing I ever felt good at. I remember I went to a place called Thornhouse.
The Thorn House.
Thornhouse.
Should we explain what it is?
Yeah, you want to explain it?
So the Thorn House was when we started comedy, it was already dying, but it was basically the local house it was in Lemon Grove, where comics had like scrounged enough money to live together, and different groups of comics had lived there at different points, but it was always the same house, and they like it's seen different generations at the time that we got to it. It had seen different generations, and when we first started, to get invited to like go hang out there was a cool feeling.
Yeah.
But so you got invited to Thorn House.
I got invited by Chris Moran.
That's who invited me the first time.
Yeah. Chris Moran was like, you need to, I was outside and I was like fucking, I didn't drink or smoke or anything. And I think I'd gotten like a shot. Somebody was like, let's give you a shot. And I had that, and probably a couple, honestly. And I was just really drunk, and I was like, well, I can't drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed there way later than I ever did. I was like, at the time I would like do my spot and then just leave because I was like, no one's gonna talk to me. And I'm out there, everyone's talking. Somehow I'm just in the right place on the side where people smoke, and they just start gathering around me. And I'm talking to Chris for a bit. And he's like, hey, we're gonna go here. You should come. And I go there, and I'm like, before I go, I'm like, I shouldn't be there. They're big comics. These micers are big comics. And I was telling myself like, okay, it's embarrassing. It's a bad idea, but you should go because then they'll know who you are. And you got invited. If it's just you going there, that's bad. That's not a good idea, but you should just go because they're going to be like, why the fuck are you here? But when you're there, they'll know you now. They don't know anyone else that just started.
Right.
And that happens. They shit on me the whole time.
Those are the craziest beatings. What was that like?
It was just like, you don't say anything. I didn't talk, especially for me. Like either I'm really outgoing or I'm just like in a box and I just can't get out of it. So they're saying stuff and I'm like, I'm not even going to try because anything I say, they're like, oh, good one. Like, and I knew. So I just was chill. I talked to them. They asked me about it. And they saw my hand and they're like, why is your hand broken? And then we just went like back and forth, and it was like, it was pretty chill. They were honestly very inviting. I met Tim Hill that night.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember how little you felt? Like,
yeah, it feels like when. Do you remember in when you're like first grade and then the fifth graders come in to read you.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
And then you get to like eighth grade and you look down and it's like, man, those fifth graders weren't shit.
No, they weren't. They didn't know how to read.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like the first couple months. And then also they were just being very nice and they were like, oh, this guy's funny. They were also drunk and high, so I don't think anything was real. But for me, it was like, holy shit, like people, they think I'm funny and like
Right.
I'm nobody. I've been doing it for like a month. Yeah, like that just kept me going. It was like the only thing that like I was good at and I've ever been good at. Everything else I'm so bad at, such a slow learner. Not that I'm amazing at stand-up, but at least like I'm not terrible.
Do you think part of it too is that you want to be good at this? So it's like a reward cycle. Like you feel that you're good at it, you do good at it, you want to keep getting good at it to keep feeling this. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I agree. Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both. I think it's a mixture of like I genuinely do think I have the talent to do it. And then also I have like the want and thrive to like just go like, okay, I'm gonna go do this.
What okay, so back to the timeline. You're a month, 2 months in.
Do we have to restart the camera? It's 26.
I'll go reset it right now. Actually, that's a good point.
We'll be right back.
Okay, so back to the timeline. You're just starting comedy a month in. Where are you at? What's happening? You got invited to the Thorn House. You're feeling good.
Thorn House, which is so funny now because it's like, who even gives a fuck? That it doesn't even exist anymore.
Half of those people either quit comedy
Yeah,
or
just gone.
dead or in jail.
Yeah, exactly. So it felt good. I started getting shows pretty fast. Because they were like, if you want to do it, you have to host the mic, do that. And I was
Right.
like, to me at the time, I was like, their word was like gospel. Because in my head, like when I first walked in and saw comics that were just doing it regularly. Because when you want to do stand up, like actually, when you see people go up, you think like they're above you in some weird way.
Right.
It's a weird thing because y'all see it too with people like shows where I do either bad or good. They talk to you after, and they also in a weird way want to humble you because they're like, oh, I could also do what you do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had that view of them that they were above me. So when they were saying stuff, I was like, oh wait, you've done big shows. You opened for this guy. You go up at American Comedy Company. Holy
They
shit!
let you go up at this club. They let you do this time.
Exactly.
You booked this room.
Exactly.
Right.
So they're like, host the mic. I host the mic. From there, they're like, okay, you could be a. They saw me and they're like, hey, we're gonna watch you. This guy really wants to do it. Let's watch you for a second. We'll get you a spot. I start getting one spot on a Wednesday to bark, and then at the time he's like, yeah, come back every Wednesday and all that.
You were
bark.
one of the like first people of our class to like start getting spots consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very proud. How did that? Were you aware of like? I say this like it's something big and important, but it is when you're first starting. Were you aware of like how important that was to you, or like what was your?
Yeah, I remember thinking like it was the biggest deal in the world. Like if I didn't bark at least like a good amount of people in, like I remember thinking like, oh fuck, I'd failed.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if they'd have me, I think I just barked forever. I think I barely started to host like towards the end of it, but like yeah, I thought barking was like I was like, I need to kill it. I need to like give it, like I treated it like it was an audition for like the biggest role, life-changing role every time. Like I would go out there and bark. And like like the way I would talk to the booker, which is like a comic that like people just like shit on and don't like, was like, yeah, I'll, whatever you say. Like I was just so nervous and like needed everything because at the time it was like all I had. So I was like, I needed it to go well in my head, and I was like, if I did anything wrong and lost this, then it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it did feel like a big deal. And like I remember thinking like, holy shit, like this is a sign of more to come.
Yeah.
Which is funny now because it's like I was doing every Wednesday back then.
And now you.
Yeah.
Now you book Wednesdays.
Yeah. Now I book Wednesdays at Madhouse, which is pretty crazy.
That's a little full. You know, say what you want about like how little we are and how young we are in stand up, but that's a cool little full circle moment of like how much that meant to you, and now you're in charge of it.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing. So we could like skip and like fast forward. We don't need to just tell the straight like comedy story of what's been happening, but you're someone that does excel in the like social atmosphere of comedy and like the social situation, because that's a big part of like the game is like what's happening socially, what's happening off stage. What do you think it is that makes you that's almost a corny question that I don't want to ask, but sure, what do you think it is that makes you excel?
I think it's like,
Or do you think you excel? Do you feel like you're excelling?
In terms of like moving up in the comedy world, or
Not even
moving up
moving
with like networking and
in a room, like you do very well in a room.
it's so weird, man. It's weird too when I hear people say that and they say like, "Oh, I know what you do," and I'm not gonna lie, I do have like things that like I know what, and I learned this from like film. I know what people want out of me. You know what I mean? I know what they expect.
What do you think they expect?
I think they expect me to like, especially it doesn't help because like the exterior, because I'm nervous, and I think that goes into family stuff in other life where like I don't want to be serious ever. To me, real world means problems. So I'd rather live in this fake fantasy world where I'm like, okay, I'm joking, we're having fun, because I either know fun or like danger.
Okay.
So I will just goof off a lot and help, and I think that makes me very like inviting. And then also I think I have this like juxtaposition where people go, oh, he's joking, he can't be serious, to like, oh, I can open up to him, and I can be someone that like, you know, I've gotten way worse at it, but I used to be really good at like listening and like being there and like hearing people out. Now I'm just so like fucking all over the place. It's like I'm not the most helpful with that. But there was a point where I could really talk to people and make them feel. I've heard this a lot. People say like you really are really good at making people feel like that it's only you and them in the room, which I don't even know what that means. I also hear that I test boundaries a lot, which
Literally the third time we hung out, we were in my car, and I think we both started crying.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, man. I think the thing is I don't know. I do have a problem. I think the thing is I don't have boundaries, which it hurts and helps. It hurts because people get annoyed by it and they're like, all right, fucking, you're yelling.
Do you think you have boundaries with yourself?
No, I think I don't. And it's weird because in a weird way, like I'll talk it out and then I'll realize like, oh, yeah, I'm just doing that because like I think I have to. Like I'm purely off impulse. I think the problem is impulse outweighs the boundaries. So I have the boundaries in place, and I usually know what will get me there. But then I go like, fuck. I get too focused on like injustices or like, oh.
What do you mean injustice?
Injustice or like, I think a lot of times I look at my life and go like, oh, this wasn't fair. Why did this happen? Why is this? Why is that? So like I always go like, all right, well. When I'm in positions where I'm wrong, like I feel like a lot of times growing up, like I knew people were wrong and I knew they were wrong and I needed it to be known that they were wrong. So those times were like, because I'm impulsive and I just do things that are like, fuck it, this is fun, blah, blah, blah. I'll do stuff. And then people go, what the fuck? Why did you do that? And I'm like, no, I know I did that to you. It was wrong. I'm going to do it again.
Well, that doesn't make
Which
sense.
doesn't, and that's not actually what I mean. What I actually mean is like I'm gonna learn from this. I'm gonna do this. I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt you.
That's not at all what you're saying.
I know. That's the other thing. Exactly, right? I think also it's like I never really had like real conversations. I never really had that point of like, let's just talk and break things down. Or what are you feeling? What are you thinking? So I only know immediately what's in my brain, and that's all I work off of. What immediately comes out of my brain, I'll say it. A thought, I say it. I see something, I say it. It's all I know is what's in here comes out.
What's it like when you're driving home by yourself then?
Really quiet.
Are you thinking? Are you having that conversation with yourself? What do you mean? So you're just...
I don't know.
Is it dead?
Yeah, I'm not joking. Today I drove in the car 30 minutes in silence. I just look outside.
I don't believe that.
I swear to God, I'm not even joking.
No, you have too much going on. I don't believe it.
No, I swear to God. Sometimes even me, I'm like, I will legit break it and go like, Jesus Christ. I was like, that was like a while. Like sometimes I just don't. I also need the off. I need the off. I tell people, I have some friends where I'm like, and I think it's with you, but like, I like being around people where I feel alone. You know what I mean?
Go expand on that. Where
I think sometimes without realizing it, and then this goes back to what you're saying, where what makes me excel in a room. I think I'm really good at being a good time. I can be very fun and put off this like, oh, we're having fun and something else. But I don't necessarily always want to do that. And it's funny too, because it's like if you were to ask me like, what's my idea of a good time? It's legit just like going somewhere and like looking at something and just sitting there. Like, but being with someone. I was telling someone today, like, my ideal like day is like being around someone without us even having to talk. I love to talk. I do like that, but like, a big part of me does wish I explored the idea more of like solitude, or like just being like nothing instead of just filling the space. Because I know what I want. I want like peace and peace of mind and that. But what I do and act out on is entirely different, and I don't know why I do that. and that's just gonna take time for me to learn and like develop those skills. But yeah, like I do seek that out more often than not. Just like not having to like be this, because I know why I do it. Like I know why I act out.
Why do you do it?
I think I just like I said earlier, I just don't want to be in the real or the I don't want to cope with or deal with things that are in my head. So that's why when I'm in the car, there is no thoughts. Because if there was thoughts, then it's like me spiraling.
I mean, admittedly, some of my favorite moments with you have been driving from spot to spot in silence.
Yeah.
In dead silence.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like not wanting to like deal with the real. Is it still like right now you still don't want to deal with the real, or do you think it's just like an automatic thing that you?
I go back and forth.
Or do you like the real right now?
That's the weird thing is I don't know. I feel like there's been so many times in my life where I say things thinking I know, and then it always changes. There's times where like I'm like, oh, I need to get it out. I need to every idea think and talk and think and talk and think, sit on it, think it. Oh, break it down with someone or a therapist or something. And I got to a point now where I was like, I got tired of it because it felt like it was just never ending. And I know everybody has problems and everyone has stuff going through their life, but I was like, this is like to an extreme where I'm like, no one else is relating to this. This isn't like a fun thing that's like on my head. It's like, oh yeah, this is actually bad. And I remember I used to get mad at comics because like, not that like because I was starting comedy, there was like rules I thought you had to do, which is like, let me be open, let me do that. So I would say stuff, and they thought it was a bit at first when I would tell them some of the stuff I'd been through or like I was going through at the time, and they're like, they meant it as a compliment, but they would go like, you should be fucking crazy. You should be like a drug addict. And I remember sitting there and getting mad, and where it's like, I can't do that. Because if I was, I would never come out of it. There's no plan B. I can't crash at someone's house. Mm-hmm. I can't do that. It's like, if I fuck up, then I'm fucked. And I think, like, to put it to right now or today, it's like, so much has changed and so much is different. And like, I guess there is that part of me that has like survivor's guilt or like, fuck, I wish I could change some things. But if I do, then it's like, I can't do comedy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's the shitty part. And it's also nobody's asking me to help them. So that's what I have to learn and realize also. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, it sucks the way things are now, but me helping or making things better, just to make me feel better. Mm-hmm. And also it doesn't change anything. Like my family's going to act how they act. They're going to do what they want to do. And like, I wish sometimes I had that guidance or that clear messaging of like, you're doing this, you're doing that. And like, I think I seek that out more often than not, because I'll call people and just talk to them and be like, I'll just tell people what like my plan is with like just
with the day.
Yeah. Just for a simple fact of like needing the feedback and like being like, okay, that's fine. And no other reason, just to be like, all right, I need to get this out. Cause like, I need to make sure this isn't fucking insane.
Outside of comedy, where have you found like comfort?
Honestly, and like, and this is the part where I'm saying like, am I actually comfortable? Mm-hmm. Is like, I find it a lot in people. I find it in other things too. Meaning like, I really got into like Wind and Sea for like a couple weeks.
What do you mean?
Like I would
the
just,
location?
The location. There's a place in San Diego called Wind and Sea. It's a beach in La Jolla. And I would just go there and I would just like sit there and I just look at the water and like listen to music.
By the way, it hasn't been a couple of weeks. You've been on this since December.
Oh yeah,
it's May.
I keep going back there. I just really like it a lot. So that is just finding peace of mind and just going like, it'll be okay. Like just look at this and be like, it's fine, it's nice. This exists. There's more outside besides you. Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, people help me a lot. Like my friends help me a lot. Like like it's good to have like normal people around, and it's crazy to me because I don't know what it's like to like. It's very recent to have like normal, clear-headed people around you.
Like the majority of the people around you.
Yeah. For me, at least.
What So like, fuck how you feel. Fuck whatever situations around you. How do you feel directly about stand-up and where you're at right now?
I'm really excited about it. I think there's things where it's like, I definitely wish, what is it called? I try not to overcorrect too much, but I definitely know I can like lean into like the ego of it all, or like being like cocky about it or like excited. I try to lean in more to right now, like just being like, oh, I get to do stand up, which sucks. I feel like I'm getting a lot of bigger opportunities and some things that I'm like I've been wanting for so long, but at the same time I can't enjoy it because it's like I'm getting that opportunities, then I'm like I'm not getting on stage for 2 to 3 days.
Right. What's taken away from that?
Madhouse mics being gone, other mics just being gone. Like so many things are just not around anymore that like we used to have that are just not here.
We took for granted.
That ruined the scene. And it's like now it's like, okay, cool. I got to do this show or I got to do this club and that was really fun. But it's like the next day now it's like, all right, well now I'm just going to wait for 2 days to get back on.
Doesn't that feel like a blessing though? Where like before all we had was going to an open mic every night, and now we're lucky to get booked on 2-3 shows a week.
No, it's definitely a blessing. But to the way I'm also greedy. So to me, it's like I got to do those 2 shows, but now it's like, what if I got to do those 2 shows on a mic after?
Is the greed helping, or do you think it hurts?
I think it does. I think it hurts me. I think it helps me move up. It helps me move up in the comedy career. It hurts me for my mental sometimes because I'm straight up just like I moved on from like I used to get jealous of my friends or stuff. Like do you remember, like the first time Diego ever got booked on a show, it was right in front of me and I was like, what the fuck? And I remember getting really
that
mad.
was my first show ever, and I thought you were running bits. But you were legit mad.
No, I was pissed. Which is super rude.
Which you had already been getting booked on shows for months.
Oh, yeah. I at that point had like 20 shows, which is insane. Here thinking back. But again, like what I was saying was like I was just being greedy. And like I was like, every show that I'm not on is bad. Or like everything that someone else gets that I don't also get is like bad. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of just go like, oh, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll be completely fine. And now the only thing I get like upset at in comedy is more so just I just want to be better, which I think is good. You shouldn't be looking at other people and seeing what they want. Now also I just get excited when you get something, Char gets something, like Jacob, anyone gets something, it's like, oh shit, like that's really cool.
Nice.
I can't wait to see them. Also it's like in comedy it's like if one of us gets up here, it's like then just everyone else does.
Slowly, yeah. I think jealousy though is a common thing to feel across any profession. I think it's healthy, and it's even more healthy that you're acknowledging it.
I think it's like, but before it was like, I just can't keep my mouth shut. So I would be like, you're a piece of shit, right? And it would be like, I just got booked on a show. It's like people comforting me because I'm upset that they got something good. And I sat there one day and I remember I got like a big opportunity, or I forgot, it was going well for me. It was like one of the first times it was going well in stand-up. And I remember sitting there and being like wanting to tell people, but I was cautious. But it's because I was projecting how I thought onto them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, if somebody told me this would suck. And I'd be like, well, that would suck because like I'm getting all this stuff and I want my friends to be happy for me. And then I clicked and I was like, oh, I'm not even happy for them. And I was like, when I feel these good things, I should just be happy and like treat people the way, like the simple, like treat people how you want to be treated.
Right.
And that really, it's something simple. Just flipped and it was like, it made it easier. And now I just kind of go like, oh, that sucks. I wish I had that too. But like, I immediately go like how they're feeling, what they want to hear from me.
So I don't think we ever answered it. Do you feel like you're in a good spot? Do you feel like you're in a position for growth? Do you feel like
I feel like I'm growing and I'm trying to manage expectations and not being hard on myself because I think it's very much that. Mm-hmm. I've grown a lot. I think like I used to think the world was happening to me. I used to think like everything was either good or bad. I used to think if it, like, it's like, okay, this is what I have to go through to get, the bad, or like the bad's never going to end or this sucks. But now more so what I just keep reminding myself is like, it's never over till it's over. And it's not, like life is never over till it's over. And it's also like, I paint the picture of like what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. So I try to remember that. Obviously there's bad days. Obviously there's days where it's like things aren't going good, but like I think I'm managing and I'm leaning towards good way more than I have before. But there's still stuff where I'm like, okay, am I being hard on myself? Right. Or am I being like, like holding myself accountable? And there's some days where it's bad. Some days I just do stupid shit. And I'm like, why did I do that? But I think the thing is like one thing is I could always try to be honest with myself and hear people out when I'm fucking up and go like, okay, I need to fix that. Right.
What's next?
I don't know. I want to get a better job. I want to save up some more, and then like leave. I want to move.
Soon?
End of the year. I think this is my last calendar year in San Diego. I think it's like there's nothing more left for me to do. And it's like, from what I've heard, it's like, why not get more in with these people? It's like, whatever.
What is that worth?
What is it worth? And it's like, bro, like, here's the way I see it. I'm going to be a comic. That's what I truly believe. I truly believe there'll be a day where I'm a headliner and I'm making money and people are paying to come see me do stand-up.
Career feature, but...
Yeah, I'm where people are paying to see me feature for somebody. I truly think that. So it's like, if people don't see that in me, then it's like, fine. Me staying here longer and them going like, oh, he got a little bit better, doesn't make a difference. I can just leave and come back and they'll see that.
Do you feel like the perception that people have of you here, like whatever it's at, it's what it's at?
No, I mean, I don't even, that's the way, also it's like, to me, it's like, is that even worth thinking about?
Okay, good.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like, not saying that that's a bad question, but saying in the sense of like, I know me and how I won't interpret that the way you're meaning it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
How I assume what you're meaning is like, you know, like you're just simply asking like, what do you think that it is? To me, I go like, when I sit there and I'm like, they don't think I'm good, they think I'm bad, then like, you know, I get combative and I take it personally. I remember getting annoyed because I'd hear people go like, oh, I don't know if you're ready for that show. And I'd be like, you don't think I'm ready for a hot room? I do shitty rooms all the time. And like, I'm doing pretty well on these shows that you're also on. And then also it's like, they're not saying it I used to take things so personally. Get so mad, so angry. And it's like, if you don't think I'm good, that's fine. I don't think everyone's good. I think a lot of people are okay. And I hear people go, they're so good. And I'm like, all right, everybody can win. Everyone can be successful. If you don't see that in me, then I'll leave. And then one day you'll be like, oh, fuck, I should have booked that guy. And if not, then you're not wrong for not thinking I'm funny. There's so many people that fucking hate me. Right. So many people that hate me.
A lot of people
that hate me.
I can't think of one that likes you.
There's a lot of people that like love me. And that's also weird because you're like, oh, fuck, I don't know what to do with it. Feeling, yeah. But yeah, so it's like, what is me staying here another year and going like, come on, come on? And what does it do? What's the cost of that? Right. When I know, also, I've been in San Diego my whole life. I want to leave. Exactly. I need to do what I want to do, and that's always led me to more. So why not do that just because somebody else goes, hey, it's here? And it's also like, oh, I'm going to move somewhere where I have connections and it's the right next move. And like, also, as soon as you leave San Diego, you realize nothing matters in San Diego outside of San Diego. Right. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Nobody cares that there was a dolphin in your neighborhood. You don't
exactly. You know what I mean? So it's like, who cares? Also, you go somewhere else, people love the shit that people hate here. Exactly. Or people hate the shit that I've seen so many people that are like, we're at the top of the scene here, leave, and then they come back.
I've seen that happen at least a dozen. No, I'm saying a dozen times since we've started.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, and also no hate to them. I'm sure when I leave, I'm gonna be sitting there crying about it too. Right. But I just believe I'll make it work, and I'll be either wrong or right about that.
We're on the back half of things. Can we get into the fun ones? Yeah. Okay. Top 2 movies.
Okay, so what color is it?
So be honest.
Are you've got your
kinky? Freak of the week.
Yeah, freak of the week. My top 2 movies are, I'm gonna go Goodfellas for like my hack.
Because when we first became friends, you made me a list of movies to watch.
Yeah, Goodfellas. And then for my own one that I really like is Sing Street. I really like that movie, Sing Street. I love Sing Street. I love Sing Street because that made me go like there was a old movie compilation of like this year in movies, and there was like a 3-second clip where there's a scene of this girl in the water, and he's like, "Why'd you jump in the water if you can't swim?" And she goes, "For our art. You can never do anything by half. You're pursuing art or whatever."
No, she calls his name. Yeah. What was his name?
Ethan.
No, it was good. I know exactly what you're talking about. And
yeah.
Finish the quote.
She goes, Cosmo, for our art, Cosmo, you can never do anything by half.
That's a beautiful
quote. Yeah, that's a beautiful, and that legit sounded. For that also, I really love moments. I'm one of those, those memes where it's like your friend that thinks he's in a movie. I'm that friend that thinks he's in a movie at all times. And that's one of those where I'm like, Yeah, I'm gonna say that to someone someday. I used to love the amount of times somebody. It's so funny. I was like, I used to be so good at like people venting to me. When I would talk to people, they'd be like, "Yeah, man, I don't know what to do," and I'd be like, I would just quote the movie Mid-90s. I would just go like, "Oh, yeah, man. There's a scene for what's his name, the little kid, and then Nikel.
Right.
Nikel's talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah,
Nikel
man, you know,
and
Sunburn."
Sunburn. Yeah.
Nikel's talking to him, and he's like, "You know, we all think our lives are the worst, but if you look at someone else's closet, you wouldn't trade your shit for their shit." And somebody was like, "You said that to me last time." I would just reuse that quote. Oh, Mid-90s. Oh, Superbad. Okay, Goodfellas and Superbad.
Wait, over Sing Street?
Okay, Sing Street and Superbad.
Okay, I'll give you 5. Go 5.
Sing Street, Superbad, Uncut Gems. I love Adam Sandler. That's just Adam Sandler love.
I'm gonna restart the camera. Keep going.
Goodfellas. And then I'm gonna do. I need another. What am I thinking of? There's some in there. I never know. I never remember anything until I see it in front of me. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck. Oh, Friday the 13th.
Oh, okay.
No. Nightmare on Elm Street.
No. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, the original one's actually really good. That's like an art house film.
Yeah. That's why I brought it up. Because you bring it up a lot, and you weren't thinking about
I
it.
love that one.
Okay. Favorite relics from childhood. Now you might be wondering what I'm talking about. The one example I'm going to give you, that's like too much a good one. I want you to say it. I don't want to spoil. So just answer how you think I want you to answer.
I have a signed Stone Cold Steve Austin poster.
That's it.
Yeah.
Is that your only favorite relic? Or?
That I have. What else do I have?
That was so awkward the way I responded, but that's.
No. I have a signed Stone Cold Steve Austin poster. I remember I was bragging about it to them. I was like, "Well, I have a signed Stone Cold Steve Austin." It's in glass, and it's pretty much a plaque. It's not really a poster. It's a plaque that you hang up on the wall. And I was like, "Yeah, it's real. It's probably worth like thousands of dollars." And somebody looked up. It's like it's $40 on eBay, and that's already after people bidding.
Okay.
I think that's it. Yeah, that's what everything else I lost. I used to have a Two-Face coin that I got from Walmart from buying the Dark Knight DVD, and I lost it like 3 times. And one time I lost it forever.
That was one of your favorite relics?
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck, Marry, Kill, Haley Lou Richardson, Tyla, and Pink Panthers.
Marry Pink Panthers. Kill Haley Lou Richardson. Fuck Tyler.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, stance on the title White Girl of the Year.
White Girl of the Year. Oh, Leve.
No, I'm not. Just the title. What do you think about the title? You don't have to assign it.
Oh, so it's not Leve?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying. What do you think about that title?
I think the White Girl of the Year title should have originally went to Bridget Mendler. I love Bridget Mendler. I think White Girl of the Year is something that we give out to white people. Because here's the thing. We fail to mention, because nowadays people love shitting on white people. And It makes sense. It's fun to shit on white people. It's funny. The whole, what is it, raisins in the potato salad? That's funny. That's crazy. That should be not allowed.
Okay.
But to me, it's like every once in a while we go, dude, remember when they were on top? You get nostalgic about it. When early 2000s white girls were just killing the game. And every once in a while we go like, you know what? You brought it. You were so good at being a white girl. You're back up. Mean Girls? Dude, Mean Girls was crazy.
What do you mean?
When it hit the streets, every Mexican girl was like, and we're talking like elementary school. They were just like quoting Mean Girls, something like that. We haven't had that in anything else.
Right.
We haven't had that in years. They tried to do a sequel. Nobody gave a fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They re-released. They did the musical.
No, they did. So yeah, White Girl of the Year is a coveted title that we should hold true, and we should honestly put it in like the Smithsonian.
Okay. That's a good response. I forgot to ask these questions before we got to the fun ones. What do you want people to walk away with from this interview?
it's so funny because I feel like, well, that's what I said. I got too comfortable too fast with saying stuff, so I hope it's not like feel bad. I don't want people to ever think I want them to pity me. I don't really give a fuck. But I want them to go like, here's a guy. Wait, should I get real with it?
Yeah.
I want it to be a guy who can admit when he's wrong, which I am a lot.
Okay.
And then a guy who's trying to be good, and like, you know,
Good at what? Just good in general.
just good in general. Just be. I'm trying to do good, and like, hope. Here's the thing: if I ever do you wrong, if there's ever an issue, if there's ever a problem, no, I also want to fix it. I just sometimes don't have the time to. And like, also, like, I wanna like, it is crazy to me. Like, I just want to do something different. Like, I want people to go like, oh, this guy like overcame. But I don't give a fuck. I don't want, because even that sounds like praise. I'm not looking for praise. I just want people to go like, okay, good. I want people to go, good for that guy. That's it. That's all I want. Good for that guy. And that's how I feel a lot of times. Sometimes I sum it up and I go, even people I fucking hate, I'm like, you were just a kid that just did that. I was like, this is a kid who, you know, had something and went for it. Passionate. So many people don't have that. And the passion and desire. Good for that guy for having passion and desire. That's the sum.
That's all you want people to think about you.
Handsome?
What
do you want people to think about you?
This isn't my interview.
Oh. All right. Oh.
What do you want to think about yourself? And are you already thinking it?
No, I think I want to know myself. I want to know.
You don't
not
think you know yourself?
No, I mean, there's times where I think I'm close. I definitely need to mature. And I think I give myself excuses because of what I've gone through and all that. But like at a certain point, it's like, all right, well, now you're 25. There's only I got like 2 more years left to be like immature. And that's pushing it. Honestly, I should have stopped at 23. And honestly, by mature, I mean I just need to stop acting like a 14-year-old.
No, I think we got a few years of acting 14.
I know. Isn't that so cool as a guy?
Yeah.
Girls have to go like, oh, I'm not pregnant yet. Oh, no.
My eggs are drying up.
Yeah, we got like, dude, honestly, dude, if you could do it for 10, as long as you don't have a kid, I mean, even if we have a kid, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to I want to stop. Like, you know, I think about this a lot. And I think like, if you know me in person, I don't know. I want to stop talking about women in the way that I do. We kind of over it.
We just did a whole fuck, marry, kill segment. And then we went on about white women of the year. Yeah,
but then I said, I was like, that guy's, I can admit when I'm wrong. And that was wrong. And then like, I don't know. I just want to move on from it and just being like, here's the thing. Here's a real thing that I want for myself and I want to know that what I'm showing to the world, because there's a difference. People will perceive you however they want to perceive you. If they think you're a dick, if they don't like you, that they'll take that in. But I want them to like go like, this is a guy who is showing this. And I think a lot of times I have a bad time of like what's in here and articulating that and that coming across as how I want you to be, or how, you know, I want my actions to match up what I think of myself.
Right. What you just said that you want to change how you like talk about women and how you think about women. What's your relationship with women?
No, I'm sorry. It sounds like I just got like this sounds like a question for an R. Kelly interview. But like, what is it called? I don't know. It's just childish, immature. It's just childish. I just want to stop being so childish about everything. I feel like I'm very impulsive and childish. That's just the ongoing theme. Like I want to like, you know, look at things, like not be so objectifying in like all types of ways. But it's hard because in comedy, it's like that's all we do is shit on things and make fun of things that like are like, you know, against the status quo. And in some weird, how I view comedy is like I straight up think of it like an art, and I know comics hate that. I think of it as an art.
No, you're supposed to.
I think we're pushing bounds.
You're supposed to. That's how you're supposed to think about it. And if you don't take it that seriously, you're not.
I just don't like when people come into comedy. Here's the thing. Here's a bad analogy maybe to some, but to me, this is the way I see comedy. If I go into like a person's house who goes, don't wear shoes in my house, I don't go, fuck, I really want to show these shoes off. I just go, I'm taking my shoes off. In comedy, I know what it is. I'm going to be around ideas I don't agree with. I'm going to be around things that I don't like see fit. I'm going to be around people where I'm like, I don't like that you act like that. But the sole purpose is we're all coming together to go, we're going to laugh, we're going to joke around. That's what it is. If I get that, or if I feel like that's their goal and intent, I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
I don't care. I really don't. And that's what I want also.
How do you feel like the general public sees comedy? Like, where do you think comedy is in the world right now?
I think maybe it's lined up a little bit, and especially I think Gen Z has a big part of that. Like they've gone full circle of like laughing and making fun of stuff, ironically, to a point of like, oh, now we're just making fun of it again.
Right.
I think people think comics are like insane and degenerates, and that they're stupid and drug addicts and lame and old white guys.
Is that true?
Sometimes. I think here's the thing. A lot of things can be true. There's not a right or wrong. I think people look at comedy as black and white, and it's not. It's way wider. We love Gerard Carmichael. Mm-hmm. I also love Bobby Lee. Right. I also love Shane Gillis.
And I love sitting down and watching Rodney clips. Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh yeah.
What do you think I meant?
I'm not joking. Rodney King.
Why would that? Who does that?
I don't know.
What normal person does that?
That's why I was caught off guard. I was like, what are you saying?
No, Rodney, we're talking about comedy.
But people usually, okay, well, you can't act like people don't say Dangerfield.
Hold on.
Do people not say Dangerfield?
No, people say Rodney too.
No, they don't.
They just reopened, by the way, they just reopened his club, and a club.
It's Rodney's?
It's called Rodney's.
I'm sorry. I've never heard anyone call him Rodney.
I think this interview's over. No. What would you like to close on?
I don't know.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted me to ask you?
I feel like you covered a lot. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think about me?
I'm very grateful to be your friend. And
not even just that. Cause
no. That's legit what I think about you. Because when I met you, I was in a very in-between spot. I didn't have a lot of friends, or I didn't have any friends other than my roommates that I was living with. And that's just because I live with them. No offense to you guys. I love you guys. But I met you, and it was very comforting to have someone that I knew thought in the way that I thought. And I'm very grateful to have grown up in stand-up with you, because we've been there for each other's wins, but we're also kind of like climbing the steps at the same time and like pulling each other up. Yeah. And like it's dark, but we're holding each other through the dark room. And I'm very grateful to have had that. And I think despite like what you think about yourself, you're making the right choices when you're making the right choices. Maybe you do think that about yourself because you said you could admit when you're wrong, but you think you're making wrong choices more than you are. Yeah,
I think that's the thing. Yeah, maybe that's
I think more often than not, you're making the right choices.
Yeah, I try.
And doing good.
I try to do good. That's the best way to look at it. One of my favorite questions I ever saw in an interview was, it was a random media scrum, and they were talking to John Jones. I've said this to you so many times. Right. But they asked him, like, John, do you think you're a good person who does bad things, or do you think you're a bad person trying to be good? And he just sits on it. And I remember thinking, like, oh yeah, what does that mean for me? And I would always tell myself I was like a bad person trying to be good. I think I'm a good person that does bad things.
I don't even think you do bad things, man.
I think I do bad things. I think we all do bad. It's fine. We impulsively. The thing is, impulse. Here's the thing. I need to learn to accept responsibility and go like, because I go like, I'm having fun. And for a long time, me hearing people go like, oh, that's fucked up, or like me annoying people, I would go, fuck you for getting annoyed, when it's like, okay, you just have to be considerate. Like, it's just the maturing. I think the theme is like, I'm going to mature, I'm going to grow, I'm going to get better, and not be so hard on myself. But it's hard when it's like, I need to learn to let go of like, I'm not going to end up like a homeless fucking crazy person. Right. You know what I mean? But it's in a weird way. Like, I think people hear me say that and they're like, stop being dramatic. But it's like, that is a lot. That's
the reality.
That's just what I know. I don't really know much outside of that. But I also think like, there is something in like, I guess like, finding a passion. Find what you really want. Be honest with yourself. So many people aren't honest with themselves, and it's so sad. It's so sad.
Do you think you're honest with yourself?
I think I need to be. If I'm not, then I go insane. I am honest to myself. Here's how honest I am with myself. If I go like, if I think about something all day, if I talk with someone and I leave and I'm like, what did I really mean by that? I dissect even what I'm saying when I'm being 100% honest. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I always try to find the deeper extent of like, where did this come from? Where did this go? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people don't do that because it's hard. It's scary.
Yeah, it's not easy.
But I mean, I don't know. Just try to be good, be fun, and like, create things. I think creating's always
What do you want to create outside of like stand up and bits?
We've talked about this a lot. I wanna. I think people I always want to do stand up. There's never gonna be a day I stop doing stand up or like choose anything over it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the idea of being a creative outside of this in terms of like making just even art, like poetry, like drawing, fucking like a show, something like just making fun things. Like in my mind, I would like, because also it's like once you do like a special, it's like, and it's a special so far, it's so far out of reach.
20
but it's
years.
like the way I see it is like I like even the build up to that. I want to just be someone that creates and keeps making fun things and pushes stuff. You know what I mean? Like I see like the way Kendrick Lamar makes music. I want to do that, but with comedy and like what fun is. So whatever fun is to me, I want to do that. If that's a skit, if that's some weird like random movie, if that's like fucking a bit, and it usually is a bit that or a podcast. It's like I just want to keep having fun.
Right. I asked you this question 2 years ago on a college radio show that I was doing at the time, and I'm curious to see if your answer is the same. What song would you pick? Damn, it's been 3 years ago now since I asked you this. What song would you pick as the soundtrack to your life this far, or like the opening song to your movie? I don't even. Do you remember the?
Yeah. I think I picked Huey.
Okay, and what's your answer now?
Now, Marcy Me.
Really? Do you know that song's about like the projects?
Yeah, it just sounds so. That sample's so beautiful. If not Marcy, oh, you know what it is? Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? It's gonna be a Kanye song. Also, here's the thing. I'm not one of those guys that I do listen to lyrics and I go, "Oh, it's bars," but I love if it can make me feel. That's always number one. I'm gonna go Kanye. What's that one with Lupe Fiasco? Dun, 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 dun.
Touch the Sky?
Touch the Sky. I'm gonna go Touch the Sky. No, I Wonder.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, Wash Us in the Blood.
What?
No, I Am a God. Nah, it's gonna be I Wonder. I Wonder's perfect for me. I Wonder
With
everything.
the Labby Sifrey sample. That's a
I
good
showed
one.
you. You remember I showed you that Labby Sifrey song? You didn't know who Labby Sifrey was.
I did know who he was. You didn't show me that song.
I showed you.
You played it for me, and I was like, "Yeah, this is a good song."
You knew about the song "Bless the Telephone" before I showed it to you.
Of course.
You told me. I've never heard the song.
I lied to you.
See the tantrums thing? What I said? This is the start of it. He does this.
No, you know how I know I lied to you? Because I dedicated that song. Not dedicated, but I played that song for my girlfriend months before.
No.
After
After
one of our first few dates, I played.
You
that
said
for her.
like, yeah, I've never heard this before. No way.
It's nice to hear your voice again.
No.
I'm familiar with that song.
Wait, so you're just admitting to me like some pathological liar?
We're being honest with each other. Do you think you lie a lot?
No, not really. Not for real things. I think people know what I really think. Do you ever worry about that?
That people don't know what I really think?
What do you think I really think about you?
I don't know. Well, you want to answer?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't think it's anything else? Or what? Here. What do you think? What do you think about here? What's the equivalent for me? What's a question you can ask to that?
What do you think about me?
Oh, okay.
This is gay.
Yeah, this is just turned gay. I'm trying to think of what am I trying to say? See, that's the problem. Is I just don't know how to talk. Yeah. We really need to get better at these things, man. here's you know what's really fun about this?
Okay, go.
Is like I was thinking about this the other day. It's like isn't it fun we get to start in a side quest? Thank God we're not starting in LA or New York.
What do you mean?
Because we go to LA and New York and nobody knows who we are.
And we can't do this bullshit in LA or New York. We can do this here and have fun.
Yeah, we get to have fun.
The one takeaway I do have about this is the approach that we have for these interviews, where it's relaxed and we're just having the conversation, is the same approach that we need to have for a normal episode.
I know, right?
Obviously, we could be funnier, but we don't have to. I feel like when we force the funny, it's not.
No, I know. Well, we're learning that too. It took 40 episodes where we're learning it. It's just this is gonna sound crazy. I think it's the headphones.
What do you mean?
When do we ever hang out with headphones on?
You're the first motherfucker to put on some headphones.
Wait. Okay. What do you want to talk about that?
Carlos is the first guy. As soon as he gets a free moment, headphones in his ears.
We were leaving Flog.
I was about to say we were at Camp Flogna.
We listened to music for 8 or 9 hours.
Close to 12, loud festival music.
And we were walking out, legit right outside the gate. So it's like now we're walking to the car, like on the normal blocks. And Diego goes, oh, wait, fuck, let me go find my sister. Turns for a second. He goes, just wait here. And I go, okay. I put both of my headphones in. I thought he was going to take a few minutes. He goes, what the fuck? Why are you putting your headphones on? And his sister's right there. His sister was right there. And I'm like, oh, And then we start walking. I didn't take my headphones out.
He never takes them out.
And then he's like, and then do you remember what you said?
What?
I really admire your ability to just put headphones in at any time wherever we are.
Yeah, you're like a kid in middle school that's like moody and won't talk to his family and just puts headphones in.
Yeah, I never mature.
No,
I need mature.
We're at like an hour and 9 minutes. How do you feel?
Good. Remember me for the parts you liked about me.
And forget the parts you disliked.
Yeah.
Are we calling it?
Yeah. I'm never going to stop doing the light skin laugh.
You need to stop doing the light skin laugh. That was a good episode. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it was fun. Thank you for doing that. Sorry I let it get off the rails towards the end, but I really enjoyed that.
No, I thought it was fun. We needed that. It'd be so... Oh, I turn off the camera. I mean, I just used to say the N-word so much.